My beauty, my style, self-growth, my way.
What's up, love? Welcome or welcome back to the channel. If you ain't been here before, then my name is Toni. Thanks so much for being here. So today we are just doing an everyday makeup type look, doing this like super caramelized look, baby. I got the caramel popping today. I got the caramel like y'all see the hair, y'all see the vibes. Like we got this whole like golden honey thing going on. Let's go ahead and jump into the video so y'all can see how I transformed myself from looking crazy this morning to how I look like now. So let's go ahead and jump in 3, 2, 1. All right, y'all. First things first, I have got to get my hair together. Actually, I'm not even doing my hair. I'm putting on a glueless wig, which is why I always suggest that y'all have a good glueless wig in the rotation. I am only going in with a little bit of my Carol's Daughter Goddess Strength. This is my defining curl cream. I'm really not even using it to define curls or nothing. I'm just gonna slap this right on top of my head so that I can slick my hair back, because my hair is actually still a little crusty from when I did my braided ponytail. And if you have not watched that, I'll pop that in the corner. Definitely check that out, because baby, it's getting hot outside and don't nobody got time to be fooling on hair. So for now, we just gonna put this hair back into a ponytail. I'm gonna put a wig cap on and we're gonna slap a glueless wig on. Like, that's what we're gonna do today. The wig cap on, the hair is pulled back. We can go ahead and jump straight into makeup. See, the hair didn't even take that long. Like, we didn't have to spend a whole lot of time. If y'all have been here before, y'all know I suck at talking and doing my brows, but I'm gonna try it today. I ain't tried it in a while, so we're gonna try it today. I'm just using my little e.l.f. Instant Lift Brow Pencil. Honestly, excuse me, I'm using this because I ran out of my other pencil. I usually flop between Benefits Precisely My Brow Pencil, or I have been using the Lip Bar, which is a super convenient option as well at Target. So we're using this e.l.f. brow pencil because I found it in my little collection. I think this pencil is like $2-3 and it does the job. So I'm just using this to go in and define my brows just a little bit. I'm not doing any kind of like sculpting or really drawing or anything like that. I'm just going in and literally filling in a little bit of color. That is it. I'm not doing anything else to my brows because, like I said, honestly, I have thick brows. I don't need a whole lot of sculpting and all of that. We're just going in with a little bit of color. Brush that through to make sure that it's all like nice and consistent across the brow. You have seen me use this if you've been watching my content. I absolutely love the Live Tinted Brow Gel. This is the only brow gel that I have been using for like the past, I don't know, I probably say like a year now. But I'm just taking that and brushing that gel right on top. And then after I brush it right on top, I'm gonna go through and just comb it a little bit, brush those hairs upward. I just had my brows waxed too not too long ago, so my brows are in really good shape. I don't even have to really do too much at all on my brow. All right, for concealer, I actually use a deeper tone on my concealer because I don't like the super highlighted look. I actually just changed this recently and I've been loving this more than that like super highlighted look. Born This Way, y'all, this is my absolute hands down favorite concealer. I've got some more cost effective options too. But if I'm going to be able to pick what I want and I'm going to spend my money on it, I am going to get my Born This Way concealer. And it's just because it's so freaking reliable. The coverage on it is just great. I don't immediately sculpt out my brows anymore. I want to let this cake up just a little bit so it can get nice and thick and add that full coverage that we want. So in the meantime, I'm just going to go ahead and put on my primer. Today, I'm using the e.l.f. Hydra Grip Primer. Y'all can see I'm empty. So we getting the bottom of the barrel right now, but it's okay because we're gonna make it do what it do. I'm gonna really work this primer in my problem areas, which are like on the creases of my nose and right under my eye. Y'all see I got a lot of going on under my eyes. So I like to make sure though that I put a nice coating of my primer like right under my eye so that I can make sure that when I put my concealer on, everything is nice and gripped onto my face. Hold on now. How I do my brows is I always just pull that product down first before I even start sculpting it out, and that's because I want a even spread of that concealer all across my eye before I start sculpting it out. Okay, and I am I told y'all I don't like to talk and do this. I am sculpting from the middle first. I always start in the middle and then I work my way towards the front. And that's it on my brows. I know this is like a little harsh right here on the stopping point, but once I go through and put my foundation on and like kind of pull down my brush over that area in the middle, it'll like get that gradient effect and I'll kind of brush my hairs back up. But right now, this is how it looks like immediately after I start sculpting it. I've sculpted out my brows. We're done with that. We already have our primer. Our primer is nice and tacky now since we let it set while we were sculpting out our brows. So we are ready to jump straight into foundation. So today I am using my Nars Soft Matte, is this Soft Matte? Yeah, this is the Soft Matte Complete Foundation. I am only going to put a little bit of this. Like, that is all the foundation. Come on. That's all the foundation I'm going to use. And that was actually one squirt, even though it started running. But that's literally it. And I'm just going to take my finger and work that all over my face, except for the areas right under my eye. I want to try to avoid that if at all possible. But just go ahead and spread that all over the rest of my face. Then I'm going to take my brush, which it is dirty. So don't even talk about it, okay? Just ignore it. Anyway, I'm just going to kind of give it a good circular motion to try to spread it out and then go ahead and just start spreading that all over. Again, I am avoiding the areas that are right under my eye because it's just better to put the concealer under your eye without it being all caked up with foundation and other products under there. So we're just going to leave that area be and focus on the rest of the face. Once I get here, I'm going to take my brush and like draw downward. So start from here and just bring it right down the nose, and that'll begin to break up that area where you might have brought the concealer over a little bit more. It'll just kind of break that area up, and then again, when we put the rest of our products, that area will start to get that gradient look. After I've gone through with my brush, I'm going to take my sponge. I do not use wet sponges. Everybody has their own personal preference when it comes to applying their makeup. I have in the past use wet sponges, but for me it just doesn't give me the coverage. I feel like sometimes it actually picks up the product off of my face rather than me being to spread it all around the areas that I need. So I always go in with a dry sponge, and I'm actually going to work like right over those areas where my brow is at the top, because remember, I didn't sculpt that area out. I just sculpted out the bottom. And so to make sure that the skin tone is the same, I'm going to take my sponge right on top of my brow. And if you have a good brow gel, this is not sponsored by Lip Tendon or nothing like that, but if you got a good brow gel, your brows should set fairly quickly and they should start to harden up. So even though you are taking your sponge right over your brows, you shouldn't have any problems with it like moving out of place or nothing like that. Now that all of my foundation is on my face, I'm going to go back into my Butterscotch Born This Way concealer. And since I'm doing just a very light face today, I'm only going to focus the areas like very lightly. I do have another Born This Way foundation, or excuse me, concealer in the color Honey. Now, if I'm really trying to be extra and I'm trying to be cute, I'm going to go in with my Honey on top in my inner corners just to like really lighten up that area. But because I'm just doing like a cute everyday type face, I don't need to do all that. I'm just going to use my Butterscotch, and this is going to be more than enough. I'm going to do just a little area right here on my chin. I'm going to do one right there in my cupid's bow area. Draw down on my nose. I don't like a whole lot of concealer on my forehead. Ah, my product is dripping. Hold on. I don't like a whole lot of, what was I saying? I don't like a whole lot of concealer on my forehead. I don't like that super like highlighted look up there. So I'm only going to do a small little line of concealer kind of angled right above my brow on both sides. And then just like a little dot in the middle. And that's pretty much it. I don't like to go in with more than that. Then I'm going to take this line that I have on my nose. I'm going to bring it all the way up. I'm going to do like an extra branch, all right? We've got this tree going on in the middle of our face. But I'm going to make like an extra little branch, right? Right there. Not necessarily connecting to my eyebrow, but starting to go off into the shape of my brow. I hope that makes sense. But anyway, I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Now, I'm going to take a cream bronzer in my Nars, baby. This Nars Laguna number 4, it does the job. So I'm gonna go into this. Where is my brush? Lord have mercy. This is like very deep. It's rich. I clearly have hit pan and I use it a lot. But I'm gonna take a nice angled brush. And this is, what is this brush? This is my Morphe M164 brush. But I'm gonna take that, dip into it just a little bit. And I'm gonna make a little line right there under my concealer. So y'all see I've got a little dark line on both sides. I think I did a little too much on this side, but whatever. So when I blend this down, what I did the other day when I blended it down, it gave a nice shadow from the nose where it splits off, because for the life of me, I have not been getting that right. But I feel like when I did it with this method, it worked. So we about to find out. I'm gonna take this same bronzer. I'm just gonna do 2 small little lines on the outside of my nose. This Laguna number 4, let me tell y'all, if y'all have this or if y'all are thinking about getting it, it spreads very nicely, but it is deep. And so I don't want like my nose too dark. I want it just enough. So I'm just gonna do 2 light lines, and I'm actually going to extend this both up and down on my nose, and it'll be more than enough. I am going in with my Rare Beauty. This is my Joy colored, what is this? Liquid blush. So I'm just gonna take this and do 2 dots. That's it. Just 1, 2, real light. Real light, because when I tell y'all this blush spreads so freaking easily, but it is so fire. I'm telling y'all, especially if it's about to be summer. To my sisters out there, my melanin, you know, sisters, put that Joy colored blush on, and I'm telling y'all, the cheeks is just gonna be cheeking. I'm just gonna take a little flat brush, go ahead and pat down my blush while I'm still letting my concealer sit, because again, the longer you let it sit, it's going to really thicken up real nicely. And because I'm doing basically like a single layer makeup look essentially, and I'm doing a really light everyday face, I don't want to go in with multiple layers of concealer. I'm going to go in with this 1 layer, and that's gonna be it. I am going to go back into my Laguna number 4, and I'm going to add just a little bit of sculpting on the bottom of where I just put that blush at. So I'm just gonna do like 1 little dot and kind of just tap that right under where I put my blush at. I don't want this super dark. Like I said, this Laguna baby, it's pigmented, okay? The color shows up very nicely, so I don't want it too dark. I just want to add just a little bit, especially around my cheeks, because I have extremely high cheekbones and it just be looking pretty. Take just a pinch and go ahead and throw some on my forehead as well. Go back into that same brush that I used to pat down my blush, and I'm going to go right on top, just so the transition between the blush and the cream bronzer is not so heavy. You can see like it's there. I still got to blend it a little bit, but you can tell it's not as harsh of a line between the blush and my cream bronzer. All right, then I'm gonna take another brush. I like to use my angled brush. I actually use this for the rest of my powdered bronzers as well. But I'm just gonna take this and go ahead and brush that deep bronzer around my forehead line. My concealer is set. I'm ready to go ahead and blend everything down, but before you do, make sure that you have your powder ready. So this is my Mercier honey translucent powder. So I'm going to make sure that I have this ready to go on the side, along with my my triangle sponge, which this is actually linked on my Amazon store if you want to check that out. The link will be down below. But I like using the triangle sponges. I just feel like they set a whole lot nicer. So I don't know. Then I'm using my beauty blender. Again, my beauty blender is actually dry. I do not use wet sponges. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to start to tap in the areas that I want that highlight to be. So look at that. Y'all see I did 1 layer of that concealer, that Born This Way concealer, and I let it set, and you can see how brightly that is showing up, like how much coverage is given. So that's why I said 1 layer is more than enough, especially if you let it set. When I blend down my nose, before I blend it down, I'm going to take just a dense like round flat brush. Well, it's not flat, it's round. And I'm going to, again, I'm going to bring that cream bronzer up and down my nose. And y'all see how much that spreads. I'm telling y'all, like, a little goes a long way. Not going to blend it down a whole lot. I just wanted to go ahead and blend it a little bit because I'm going to go right on top and blend out my concealer. We're gonna go back through and define that with some bronzer anyway, so that's why I really don't like care if it's super blended out. I just want a little bit of that shadow there so I can make sure that my sculpt is like, you can see it, but it's not gonna be like super dramatic. Like, I ain't about to be on stage performing and I need that look chiseled out. We ain't gotta do all that. And then I'm gonna go right up through to the top. Now, again, remember, we have these two shadows here. I'm just going to blend right over it. Just right over it, literally. I can't even talk. It's very subtle, but y'all can see, like, there is a faint line of that deeper color. And that is kind of like my guide to be able to tell me where to start to bronze the rest of my area to get my nose to be defined. So it's like, I don't know, it just helps the roadmap, I guess. I don't know. When I figure out how to say it, I'm gonna let y'all know. But I'm gonna take my beauty blender, and again, I'm gonna go right over this area above my brow. Not too much, and same on the other side. And then kind of do that on my forehead. Now, y'all see how much that I put on my forehead. I put a small dot. Look at how much my highlight is on my forehead. This is exactly what I don't like, because I watched my last couple of videos. I can't remember which video it was, but when I say, baby, that highlight, I mean, my forehead was not right. It was not right. I was like, oh my gosh, we are not going to do that anymore. So what I'm going to do is go back with the same sponge that I had for my foundation, and I'm going to minimize the circumference of all of that brightness going on my forehead. And I'm also going to go back in with one more product that is really going to mute all of that down, because like I said, it's a no for me. As you can see, like, we're starting to mute it down. It's starting, like, you don't see those lines of demarcation as much anymore. Now we are ready to go ahead and do the under eye. So again, still going in with my beauty blender. I'm going to like position my face downward and kind of look up, because you already know when you when you're doing that under eye, you want to make sure that you are not setting any creases. So go ahead. And one thing I like to do too is close my eye and bring that concealer in that corner up and around onto my actual lid. I just feel like it blends a lot better that way. And I like to extend that powder on all of the areas that I highlighted. So I'm gonna bring that, kind of start to bring it around the nose just a little bit where you're gonna put that bronzer that way. So already you look nice and contoured. I'm gonna put just a little bit of extra powder right there on the side of my nose. And as you can see, I did take my powder right over where I blushed at. And that is because I don't like my concealer to come like sculpted up too high. I kind of like to wrap it around like the front area of my cheek and then go up. I just feel like it comes down to placement and how you want your placement, but that's kind of just how I like to do it. It fits my face better. I feel like when I do it that way and bring it down just a little bit. All right, so now we have done the under eye. We're just gonna throw a little bit on that cupid's bow and a little bit down the nose. And I'm actually going to let this sit on my nose for just a minute. I'm not going to immediately blend it down because my nose tends to get really sweaty. I don't know, like my nose just be sweating, baby. It be sweating all the time. So the next product that I'm going to use is actually something that I have just started doing a few weeks ago. I'm not going to set my face the traditional way with a loose powder. Usually I would go in with my Mercier medium deep loose translucent powder. That is a mouthful. Anyway, I actually have been setting my face with powdered foundation. So I'm going in with my Makeup Forever palette. This is in the color 4N68. And this is how I've been setting the rest of my face. So this gives me a lot more control too, to really mute some of the areas that might be a little overly highlighted. Like if I don't want my chin, did I even set my chin? Yeah, I don't think I set my chin. So I'm actually gonna overly highlight my chin on purpose because I just accidentally put a little too much powder. So let's just act like we did it on purpose. But anyway, I'll show you what that powdered foundation does for my highlighted areas. Right now, we good and bright. We kind of looking like Casper, and that is not the vibe that we going for. I'm going to dip into my palette, and I'm just gonna tap that powder right in the areas that I want it. It's more concentrated, more control than putting like a loose fluffy brush with that loose powder. This is more concentrated. So I'm actually going to take this, take it right on top of the area that I just used to set with that honey translucent powder. By doing this, this will begin to mute some of that highlighted area that I have on my chin, because I didn't want it too bright. I just wanted it a little bit, and I put too much. So this is an easy way for me to have control over like blending out my face and making sure that I don't have super highlighted areas. I'm taking this over the whole area. I'm taking this over the bronzer. I'm really focusing on this area right between where my highlight powder, my Mercier honey translucent stops, and going into the bronzer. I'm just going to take this and really make sure that that area is blended out. Oh my gosh, y'all see the difference? It just makes my skin look like caramelized or something. I don't know. And I'm gonna take this all over my forehead too. So this was the product that I was talking about when I said, like, if you accidentally get a little too much highlight on your forehead, you can always go back in with a powder. And you can do this if it was a translucent, like loose powder as well. But I'm just going to go back through and mute all of that area on my forehead. So now you don't see like that super highlighted look that it was given before, because that just was not cute. And I literally did that on a couple of my videos like a couple of weeks ago. I was like, ah, that looks crazy. So now I'm going to go ahead and blend out my nose, because I'm going to bronze, and that's pretty much it. Bronze and put a little bit more blush, and we done. And as you can see, that definition is still there. Like, it's right there. So you can definitely still see where I put that cream bronzer at and blend it right on top, and it worked out really nicely because I can still see where my definition is. And I have a little bit of highlight going on here, so I'm going to take that same brush, not add any more product, but I'm going to just mute that a little bit so it doesn't have such a harsh transition between the two. I use two bronzers all the time, and this is because I definitely could use the Juvias Place by itself, but the deeper color has just a little bit of a redness to it for my skin tone. So I go on top of that with my Fenty Caramel Cutie Sunstalker bronzer, taking that same angle brush that I had earlier and just doing the bronzer right on top of where I already had that cream bronzer underneath. And even though I don't have like a highlighted area on my forehead, I still like to go in with bronzer around the top of my forehead, just to add like a little more color definition and like that warmth around my, like on the outer sides of my face, and keeping the interior highlighted. I don't know, I just still add it anyway. And then taking the same brush, not switching or anything like that, going right into my Caramel Cutie and going right on top of the same areas. This Caramel Cutie just has literally the name, like it has a little more caramelness to it. It just matches my skin tone a lot better than the Juvias Place by itself. And the Caramel Cutie I only put on my cheeks. I don't go in like the rest of my areas. I just focus this one mainly on my cheek area. To wrap this look up, the only thing that I'm going in next with is my blush, and I am using the Juvias Place. This is their Duo palette. I want to say this is number 6 if I'm not mistaken, but it has like This don't even do it no justice, but this color up here, it's like an orangish color. It is so pretty. So I'm going to go in with this with a fluffy brush right on top. I'm gonna do a little smile, but I just want to focus that right on my cheeks and kind of brush that upward. I am going to go back with my triangle blender that I already had and go right back on top of the area between my honey translucent powder and where that blush is now sitting, just to make sure everything is nice and blended. And I actually am probably going to put just a pinch of powder on there, because right now it's giving like a little bit too much blush in that area. So let's just kind of dial that back a little bit. Like I said, just put a little powder, not too much, and you just want to go right on top of that area so that you don't have a heavy line of demarcation and it's nice and blended out. Sculpt my nose. I am going to go in with the Juvias place, and then I have a flatter, it's not necessarily angled, it's kind of fluffy. But this is what I'm going to use to sculpt out my nose, and I'm only going in with just a little bit of bronzer, and I'm going to follow that roadmap that I made at the very beginning and kind of brush that bronzer up into the same areas. And that's just going to give that really nice shadow right there where the split off happens, to make sure that it's like nice and angled to my face. And I'm not doing heavy sculpting around my nose. I always do like a little bit in the front, kind of like draw that, kind of bring it to a close. Now I'm going to take a fluffy brush and I'm going to go into that bronzer and focus that right on the end corner of my eye. I'm not using shadow or anything like that, and I already have my lash clusters on, so I'm just going to focus that there. Take that same brush and just kind of feather out the area that starts where that contour shape is, and just feather it right into your eyelid. That way it's nice and brushed out. You don't want that heavy harsh line like that. It's not cute, trust me, and that's not what you want. So just take a brush and blend it out all the way. Taking my sponge that I had, and I'm going right on top of those areas. I feel like, again, if you take the sponge and blend it out, you don't have such heavy harsh lines, and it looks really soft and transitioned out beautifully. Now everything is done. Let me see, I'm gonna hit it with just a little more of my Milani. Like I said, I already have lash clusters, so all I'm doing is taking some mascara and just doing the inner corner, because I only have lash clusters halfway up. So I'm just gonna hit some mascara on the inner corner, do some on the bottom, and that's it. Put a little lip gloss on. And once my lips are outlined, I'm just going in with my butter gloss right on top. I'm not doing a whole lot of lip at all, just these two as a combo. The last thing that we need to do on is go ahead and pop on some hair. I fluffed this wig out on my TikTok, so make sure you're following me on TikTok. But I'm going to just go ahead and put this wig on. So let's make sure that the band is all the way down. And y'all, look at this. Look at this glueless wig. Instant. I wish my sunlight, come on sunlight, because it ain't hitting like it need to be hitting right now. Come on. Like, oh, y'all, this is glueless. This is why I said y'all need to make sure that y'all always have a glueless wig. Baby, if you need one, make sure you check in my description box, because I have a whole lot of coupon codes that you could be using right now. So that is it on today's makeup look. Comment down below. Tell me how I did, you know. Tell me how I did. Tell me if any of my tips and tricks worked out for you today, you know, to get you that caramelized look going on as well. But like I said, that is all for today's video. Thanks so much for coming to hang out with me. If you have been here before, then baby, you should already know what is coming next. But if you have not, don't forget to hit that subscribe button below, baby. And also make sure that you are hitting that notification bell as well, so you can see when a video is going up on my channel. Anyway, thanks so much. Until next time, bye.